Hello, my name is Vedant Jain. I'm a legal intern with Lexis and Company. In today's video, we will discuss what we've discussed in yesterday's videos, that are the sources of international law. In yesterday's videos, we have talked about what are the primary sources of international law. In today's video, we will specifically deal with the secondary sources of international law, or more specifically, public international law. International law is comprehensive in nature, and due to that, it is an amalgamation of various sources. There exists no single system of laws which can interpret and extend the law, but international law still exists. There are sources available from which the rules of international law may be extracted and analyzed. According to the famous jurist Lawrence, if we take the source of law which has all the authority required to give it a binding force, then in respect of international law, that source is the consent of the states. The consent may either be tacit, that is in the form of custom, or express, that is in the form of treaties. So, what are the secondary sources of international law? That is the evidence of international law. Article 38, Clause 1, Subclause D of the International Court of Justice Statute forms part of the material source of international law, also known as secondary source. It states that judicial decisions and the teachings of the most highly qualified publicists of the various nations also help in guiding the formation of international law. However, they are not binding but merely advisory in nature. First is the judicial decision. Under this, the court is authorized to apply previous decisions of the court, which are also known as an evidence of international law. However, it is subject to the exception stated under Article 59 of the ICJ statutes, which states that the previous decision of the court can only guide the court, it is not binding on the court. The article provides the court with a rule that it is not to be bound by the precedents, but recourse can still be made by the court to its past decisions, res judicata, and advisory opinion to substantiate current case as authoritative evidence of legal position. ICJ plays a major role in the law-making process through its advisory opinions, case laws, and judges' rules. One of the major examples of this includes the principle of the prohibition against the use or threat of use of force laid down by the court in the case of Nicaragua versus US, which is considered as the part of customary international law. The judicial decisions of the court also encompasses international arbitral awards and the rulings of national courts. One leading example is Alabama Claims Arbitration, which marked the opening of new era in the peaceful settlement of international disputes, in which increasing use was made of judicial and arbitration methods in resolving conflict. Another illustration of the impact of arbitral award is the Island of Palms case, wherein it has been referred that an unanimous or nearly unanimous decision plays an important role in the progressive development of the law. It helps in providing a single view for interpretation of the issue at hand, which helps in avoiding controversy during the development of international law. Second is the justice writing and teachings. Other major part of this source also include the teachings of the highly qualified writers such as Gentilis, Grotius, or Vettel, who were considered as the supreme authorities of the international law in the 16th to 18th centuries. Textbooks are used as a method of discovering what the law is on any particular point rather than as the source of actual rules. And the writings of even the most respected international lawyers cannot create law. These are considered as an evidentiary source of law, as they provide an explanation and understanding of the international principles. They carry an essential value because they provide to fill the grey areas of international law where treaties or customs do not exist. Other sources of international law can be: international law is not based on a set of rules, and therefore Article 38 is not exhaustive. There are various other factors that develop the usage of international law, which include declarations of Security Council's resolutions, declarations and recommendations adopted by the UN General Assembly, international morality and equity, etc. The world is constantly evolving and the problems are becoming more and more complex. The resolution and declaration adopted by the Assembly act as an inevitable impact on the direction adopted by modern international law. The way states vote in General Assembly and the explanations given upon such occasions constitute evidence of state practice and state understanding as to the law. For example, in the case of US versus Nicaragua, General Assembly had asked the court for an advisory opinion on the question: is the threat or the use of nuclear weapons in any circumstances permitted under international law? The court, after a review of relevant international legal instruments as well as Security Council General Assembly's resolution of the matter, reached a resolution that the threat or the use of nuclear weapons would generally be contrary to the rules of international law applicable to armed conflicts and in particular the principle and rules of humanitarian law. Thank you.